Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Jacopino Fike and I'm going to be reviewing the case study for Michael. So first I'm going to just do a little bit of a background information in case you didn't get to review his file so you know where he's coming from and his progress. So Michael is a 5-year-old boy attending a preschool age daycare 3 days a week for 4.5 hours. To review some of the other general information, he was born at Newton Medical Center on April 9, 2018. His mother stated that she took prenatal vitamins and received prenatal care. She did not use drugs or alcohol, but she did have gestational diabetes and had extreme morning sickness. Once Michael was born, he did have some trouble with gaining weight, and they thought he may have hypothyroidism, but hasn't had any issues at this time. He was diagnosed with torticollis and pliocephaly and started receiving physical therapy at 2.5 months old. Those are two different conditions which include weakness in the muscles in your neck and flat spots on his head. So because of those issues, he did receive physical therapy at 2.5 months old until he was 9 months old. He met his motor skill milestones within a normal range, like crawling and walking. He was toilet trained on time at the age of 2 years and 7 months. He was saying mama and did say sentences, but was very difficult for him to be understood by family. He did undergo surgery for tubes in his ears, and his parents had hopes that his speech would improve after this surgery was done, but it did not make a large difference. He was referred to his New Jersey School District Child Study Team at 2 years old by his mom and has been receiving early intervention since he was 18 months old. He attends physical therapy 1 time a month, and he attended speech 2 times a month for 1 hour each. Now, at 5 years old, at the near end of his preschool journey, he has made significant progress. He has great self-help skills, including toileting and having stable, positive relationships. He plays in groups of 3 to 4 children and can complete 4 to 6 word sentences and exchange 3 to 5 responses in a conversation, which is typical for his age. He can solve problems like taking turns. He's able to communicate his needs. If he wants to share, needs to use the restroom. It looks like his current speech issue is just his speech, just his speed through his speech, and that is something his mom is concerned about, but they're not seeing the same concerns at school. This is part of his speed and his expressive language. His mother is requesting that he still receive speech consultation in kindergarten. I'm going to discuss how this information as the general education or special education teacher helps you. So as the general education or special education teacher, it is very important to understand the progress your student has made. A student may come in and it may look like they need a lot of supports, but a report like this, not sensitive to Michael's case, but you may see a report and see all the progress that they've made. So this document really gives information on the child's home life, which can help back up behaviors or struggles you're seeing. The report includes past assessment data, information on schooling, if they went to preschool or not, explanation of early intervention services, if they were evaluated, if they were able to receive those services. And it also shows his current levels at the end of preschool, where he is at now that he's coming into your kindergarten classroom. This gives the teacher a clear idea of where the child is with his speech, academics, behaviors, his cognitive ability, and where he has come with, and it shows you his progress. This also gives you parental input and where the parents are seeing these things at home. In Michael's case, his mom shares input on January 7th, 2024. His mother states that Michael has fantastic vocab and that he uses more advanced words, but that he speaks very fast and it's hard for his family members to understand him. So this seems like this is something that has been going on for a while. This is mom's concern that she has brought up on more than one occasion. As a teacher, you may be asked for strategies that the parents can work with the child. Even though you're not a speech language pathologist, it is best practice for a teacher to be able to say, oh, I can speak with a speech language pathologist to give you some tips. But according to the Marshala Speech and Language Research, some strategies for slowing down speech include pencil talking, where the child taps the pencil for each syllable, like, could I please have a napkin? Could I please have a napkin? But a child of this age may not know syllables yet, so they could practice once with each word. Now, this can help them slow down way too much. So this may be a strategy that you may implement, and then you'll show them to just speed up a little bit faster so they have more of the fluency. It is important not to tell the child they're speaking too fast, as it may frustrate them. The Marshala Speech and Language Research also says that some strategies are to be able to say, huh? Or can you say that again? Instead of telling them they're too fast, just letting them know that you missed what they said. This promotes them to take deep breaths and start over again, and teaches them that they need to learn their speed limit. And sometimes we need to practice speeding up or slowing down in our speech. Now, referencing our text, a teacher's guide to special education, a speech language pathologist works with students who have issues related to communication. They assess and participate in meetings to develop goals and objectives, and then work to provide instructions for students who may need assistance with a variety of issues. And speech is a big factor in Michael's case, so it is important to understand the responsibilities of a speech language pathologist. Now we're going to review what information is missing from this case study. What information would be important for the team to know? I think a very important part that's missing is what language is being spoken at home. If the parents are the ones that are thinking and seeing that his speed is too fast and he's hard to understand, it could be that they're speaking a different language, or he's learning a second language, or he's flipping back and forth from the languages. So this is something that the child study team could ask, and make sure that his assessments are being delivered in his home language at home, because that can be throwing off the data. Also, some other information that would be important to the teacher, maybe not the team, is if an updated speech consultation or evaluation could be done, because the last data is from January 28th, 2022. And I understand he's not due for another evaluation, but that would be important information to help a teacher. The speech therapist on January 28th, 2022, in this case study, it showed she administered a Real 3. And according to the case study, Michael's expressive and receptive language was tested. The Real test is a receptive, expressive, emergent language test. He received a standard score of 78, which is the percentile rank of a 7, and was considered below average. On the receptive language portion of the test, his standard score was a 73 and a percentile rank of 3, which is considered below average when compared to students of a similar age. He had difficulty answering yes and no questions about playmates. On the expressive language portion of the test, Michael's standard score was a 63 and percentile rank of less than 1, which is considered below average. Although these scores are below average, there was no information stating if he had qualified for speech in the school system. So that is some more data that is missing from this case study. Maybe not to the team, but to the case for the teacher to review. How is the disability impacting Michael? So now I'm reviewing the data that was updated in January of 2024. It looks like there's no significant impact in the classroom, currently at 5 years old in preschool. According to his teacher input given on January 7th, 2024, in the case study, Michael is very independent and is able to use the bathroom on his own and follows the routines of the classroom. He demonstrates strong relationships in the classroom and at home. He can identify his classmates' feelings and emotions and the reasons behind them. He can play with his peers in a group of 3 to 4 children and can come up with strategies to resolve his problems. I can conclude that he has great self-help and awareness skills. As far as his communication goes, he responds to specific vocabulary and more complex language. He follows detailed multi-step directions and can hold a conversation of 4 to 6 words for 3 to 5 exchanges, which is on grade level for his age. He can share experiences in chronological order, and his teacher says that the only real concern she sees is that, not even a concern, but when he learns a new vocabulary word, he has a hard time pronouncing it, but that is very common for his age, and it's not an area of concern. He does well with regulating his volume and being aware when he's too loud or too quiet. Cognitively, he's able to work well on a developmentally appropriate activity, and he is able to plan and execute a design like making a blueprint and then building a house. He solves problems quickly and efficiently, in most cases, and he does complete pretend and dramatic play. By the conclusion of this report, Michael does not have a negative impact on his learning. His disabilities in his speech, where he was receiving speech services, are no longer present, and they are not impacting his learning academically, socially, anywhere really in the classroom. Now, as a teacher, what could you do if your responsibility was to educate Michael? As a teacher, I can motivate him to work on stronger skills. We are seeing all the progress he's making. It doesn't mean that we stop. We continue and challenge him as he comes in as a kindergartner. We're teaching all the letters, all the sounds, creating CVC words, blending, reading decodable readers. If he's able to read, we're going to move up. We're going to go to first grade level. We're going to create lots of questions that have lots of more enriched thinking and collaboration to get his language even stronger. If he's not able to read, maybe he knows a couple letters, maybe he knows none, that's something we're going to work on, because speech and his expressive and receptive language, those strengths and weaknesses can change as he learns how to read. As a teacher, the best practices are to challenge and create appropriate lessons for our students. We're going to continue to challenge him and help him and make sure we're at an appropriate level as he's learning to read and speak and be able to communicate. I would make sure that we're asking more complex comprehension questions. His current preschool teacher said that he's able to follow simple directions and simple vocabulary, as well as learning all those complex vocabulary as well. I would also make sure that the parents know that I am taking care of their son. I'm making sure that he is getting what he needs, and that their concerns of his speech speed is still on my mind, and I am open to helping them work on that as well. So definitely having an open communication, maybe a weekly communication log to address any concerns that she has at home, and any tips or tricks or any concerns that I'm seeing at school as well. So that communication is key. So I think as I'm reviewing this case study, we definitely can see the immense progress that Michael has made. And as a teacher, we don't stop there. We continue to challenge and to modify and accommodate Michael. And Mom has been wanting a speech consultation in kindergarten. So that's something she can contact the child study team if she wants a full reevaluation, and maybe he will qualify. But as his present levels from his preschool teacher, he's right on par. There's nothing impacting him to go into kindergarten, and Michael has made great progress, and he is ready to go to kindergarten.